Good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to see a full Zendo. We have 2 spots, I think, if people come in late. And we have 1 spot. And hi to everyone online. I can't see you. I'm really glad you're here. My name's Ted O'Toole, and today I'm talking about Case 9 from the Gateless Barrier, which is also known as the Mumonkan, and the title of the case is Ch'ing-jang's Nonattained Buddha. So the Gateless Barrier is a koan collection. It has 48 koans in it. You've probably heard me talk about it before. I think I've probably given Dharma talks on at least half of the koans in here. So a koan, if you're new and are not familiar with the term, is a brief story. Usually it's about an encounter between a teacher and a student. And it is intended to convey the heart of Zen, to contain, to convey reality in a way that is beyond our conceptual thinking abilities and is deeper than words. So it takes us to a deep place, a place of openness. And when I assign myself a koan, I read several of them and find one that speaks to me at this time. And I usually sit with it on my own for quite a long time. And then I consult some sources to see what other people have had to say about it. And my favorite source is Robert Aitken's edition of the Gateless Barrier. It's his translation and his commentary. And he's really good. He goes deep. He really resists the urge to tell you, well, this means this or this stands for this. He tends to just keep opening it up. He'll ask further questions. He'll probe deeply. The sense is kind of, well, you might think it's this, but what about this? And what about this? Kind of letting you know that you've never really arrived. Kind of letting you know that falling into fixed views is not something we should do with koans. So I really appreciate his approach. And then I also usually consult Katsuki Sakita's 2 Zen classics. And he's very good too, but he tends to be a little more close to the surface, a little more this may stand for this. But that can be helpful as well. So the koan is on your program. It's a story of an encounter between a teacher and student that happened 1,000 years ago in China. These were actual people, I think. I'm going to read it twice. The case. A monk asked the priest, Ch'ing-jang of Hsing-yang, the Buddha of Supremely Pervading, Surpassing Wisdom, did zazen on the Bodhi Seat for 10 kalpas. But the Dharma of the Buddha did not manifest itself, and he could not attain Buddhahood. Why was this? Ch'ing-jang said, your question is exactly to the point. The monk said, but he did zazen on the Bodhi Seat. Why couldn't he attain Buddhahood? Ch'ing-jang said, because he is a non-attained Buddha. So I'll just read that again. A monk asked the priest Ch'ing-jang of Hsing-yang, the Buddha of Supremely Pervading, Surpassing Wisdom, did zazen on the Bodhi Seat for 10 kalpas, but the Dharma of the Buddha did not manifest itself, and he could not attain Buddhahood. Why was this? Ch'ing-jang said, your question is exactly to the point. The monk said, but he did zazen on the Bodhi Seat. Why couldn't he attain Buddhahood? Ch'ing-jang said, because he is a non-attained Buddha. So I'm going to go through this. It begins. A monk asked the priest, Ch'ing-jang of Xing-yang, typical encounter, monk asks a question of a teacher. The Buddha of Supremely Pervading, Surpassing Wisdom did zazen on the Bodhi Seat for 10 kalpas, but the Dharma of the Buddha did not manifest itself, and he could not attain Buddhahood. Why was this? There are many Buddhas, and this one, according to Lin Chi by way of Aitken, an explanation of his name is, Supremely Pervading, Surpassing Wisdom is like this. Supremely pervading refers to the one who personally penetrates everywhere into the 10,000 dharmas, which have no nature and no form. Surpassing wisdom refers to the one who has no doubts anywhere and does not attain a single thing. Buddha is the one whose clear light shines throughout the Dharma world. So it would seem from reading that description and knowing his name that he is a completely attained Buddha. He has supreme wisdom that pervades everywhere. Isn't that enough? That would seem to do it. He did zazen on the Bodhi Seat for 10 kalpas. And so the effort seems to be there too, right? He did zazen on the Bodhi Seat. Zazen is what we do. It is essential to waking up. He did it for 10 kalpas. A kalpa is an unimaginably long period of time. One kalpa is the time it will take a celestial lady to wear away an iron block, which is 1 mile square, if she descends and brushes it with her ethereal garments once every 3 years. That's a long, long time. This guy put in the work. And according to Lin Chi, the reason that the number 10 is chosen is to refer to the 10 paramitas, to show that this Buddha is not just sitting there in a dull or plain or non-active way. He's practicing generosity, morality, patience, zeal, etc. According to Aitken, he is engaged with the entire person. He's doing the work. Well, a koan usually gives you something contradictory. It usually presents you with an impossible situation, and this one does not disappoint. It says, but the Dharma of the Buddha did not manifest itself, and he could not attain Buddhahood. How could this be? He did the work for an unimaginably long period of time with his whole person, and yet he could not attain Buddhahood. It doesn't make any sense. And talk about contradiction, he's identified as a Buddha who could not attain Buddhahood. So no wonder the student is confused about this and brings the question to the teacher. The teacher responds. Ch'ing-jang says, your question is exactly to the point. I think that's a perfect answer. Ch'ing-jang, he's not just saying, oh, that's a really good question, and now I'm going to answer it. I think he's really trying to end the conversation right here. He's saying, your question is the answer. Go and absorb that for a while. Or maybe more accurately, don't seek an answer, don't try to go beyond the question. Hold the question, live the question. Because the deepest understanding we can have is beyond definitions and thoughts and words. And Ch'ing-jang would rather have the student access that realm. He'd rather have him be fully there with his question than be at a place where he can present an answer. So being and nothingness and non-separation between the two are not reducible to words. We can do being and nothingness. We can hold being in nothingness. We can be in the presence of it. We can wander into the center of the circle of wonder, as Hongzhi says. But on the deepest level, we can't get an answer. An answer wraps up neatly that which cannot be wrapped. An answer can't match reality. It always selects something from reality to help us, but it can't be reality itself. So an exchange like this between teacher and student can result in a kind of openness and clarity. And sometimes that happens in our one-on-one meetings here, or even during a Dharma talk occasionally. Sometimes I get the sense, sometimes when I'm listening to a talk, and occasionally when I'm giving a talk, that people kind of come to this place where they can feel that openness and that clarity together. And those moments kind of give me a chill. A chill's not quite the right word because it's a good chill, but it's just kind of like, whoa, what is that? Kind of a feeling of awe, kind of a feeling of wonder. We have wandered in to the center of the circle of wonder. And you can stop there. You don't need to go further. You can stay in that circle of wonder. You don't have to get a description now to take back to everybody else. You can just be there. That's it. That's it. And those moments can't be wrapped up neatly. It's not everyone saying, I get it. That's what we want. We want to get it, and we want to take it with us. But it's more like I can feel myself in this space of not knowing. So the question is exactly the point. Live the question, dear student. Wander into the center of the circle of wonder. But our monk here is not satisfied with that answer. He didn't get the answer he wanted, so he asked the same question again. The monk said, but he did zazen on the Bodhi Seat. Why couldn't he attain Buddhahood? I love this student. I feel for him. I'm a little amused by him. I used to be him. And I feel for him because I know where he's coming from. He's thinking about himself, obviously. He's thinking, I practiced so hard. It feels like 10 kalpas, that last retreat we had. I thought that bell would never ring. I'm trying so hard, and I'm still not enlightened. And I can relate. I can remember the great longing I had before my attitudes kind of shifted, that just great longing to be awakened. So strong. Aitken says, poor fellow, he couldn't see the nose on the end of his face. And Aitken says that most students have complained to their teacher at one time or another that, hey, it's not happening fast enough for me. So Ch'ing-jang answers him. The answer's coming, and it's going to be a great answer. First of all, it's kind. He didn't say, stop whining. He didn't say, knock it off. He just spoke the truth clearly and kindly. Ch'ing-jang said, because he is a non-attained Buddha. And I think that's a wonderful answer. How can it be that he didn't attain Buddhahood? Because he didn't attain Buddhahood. That is how it is, dear student. That is how it is, and your turmoil, your suffering comes from not being able to accept how it is. This is how it is with you today, dear student. You are a non-attained Buddha. Know that, accept that. Find what that is in its deepest sense, and you will be okay. You will stop searching and suffering. Be non-attained Buddha. And I believe Ch'ing-jang is not saying that I as the teacher am an attained Buddha, and you as a student are not, and you simply have to accept that. I believe that Ch'ing-jang knows that he himself is a non-attained Buddha. For that is what Buddhahood is about. We're all non-attained Buddhas, and it's good. And it couldn't be otherwise. So how can I talk about this? When I do Dokusan's one-on-one meetings during a retreat, I encourage people to come talk to me right away. Don't wait till you have it all together. Like, just come to me and share with me what you have. And I often hear same things I used to say to my teachers. I'm so confused, or I'm so tired, or I'm feeling cynical about Zen, or I feel grumpy, or whatever. And what I usually say, because it seems to help, is, oh, you're confused, Buddha. Oh, you're tired, Buddha. Or, oh, you're grumpy, Buddha. And I'll say these things to myself sometimes too, and sometimes it helps. People talk to me about being grumpy because they don't want to be grumpy. They want to be something else. But if I can get them to say, yeah, I'm grumpy Buddha, there is no longer that separation between who they are and who they want to be. Non-separation. That's what we do. We let it in. Anytime you can say, I'm grumpy Buddha, you are discarding your views of what kind of Buddha you think you should be and replacing that with an embracing of the Buddha who you are. And then the universe is back in harmony. The wheel is no longer out of kilter. How can you be Buddha when you're denying you're Buddha? Well, you can if you accept that you're denying Buddha. You are Buddha when you say, this is the Buddha I am, regardless of how un-Buddha-like a Buddha you may believe yourself to be. You are Buddha when you say you are confused Buddha. You are Buddha when you say, I am grumpy Buddha. Or when you say, I am tired Buddha, cynical Buddha, dull Buddha, dissatisfied Buddha, sickly Buddha, bored Buddha, eager Buddha, listening to the talk Buddha, trying not to squirm around Buddha, OMG Buddha, LOL Buddha. I don't like this right now, Buddha. And in fact, I hate this right now, Buddha. I hate myself, Buddha. I hate you, Buddha. I love you, Buddha. I'm indifferent to you, Buddha. Anxious Buddha, depressed Buddha, getting better Buddha, sad happy Buddha, deliciously melancholy Buddha, walking on the rainy beach Buddha, rock and roll Buddha, honky-tonk Buddha, hip-hop Buddha, jazz Buddha, no different from the lake Buddha, no different from the cars and the noise going by Buddha, parental Buddha, taking care of the kids Buddha, strong Buddha, invincible Buddha, radiant, glorious Buddha, wishing I was Buddha, Buddha, denying I'm Buddha, Buddha, non-attained Buddha, Buddha. You can be Buddha. That is, you can know you're Buddha. You're always Buddha, but you don't always know it. When you say these things, because it's the Buddha you are, not the Buddha you want to be. So, which Buddha are you right now? I invite you to take a moment and ask yourself, which Buddha am I right now? Would anyone like to say it out loud?
Uncertain.
Uncertain. Uncertain Buddha. Yes, just go ahead, just say it.
Ever-changing Buddha.
Ever-changing Buddha.
Content.
Intense Buddha?
Content.
Content Buddha. Thank you.
Sleepy Buddha.
Completely Buddha.
Sleepy.
Sleepy Buddha. Having a hard time hearing here. Skeptical Buddha. Okay, okay. So we accept who we are. That's the key. But as a lot of people say, acceptance is not acquiescence. There are things we can't change about the world or ourselves, and we have to accept that. But with regard to the things about ourselves and the world that we can change, we don't say, well, I just have to accept that, so I can't do anything. We change and work at it, and we fix things consistent with our bodhisattva vow. we don't give up. You may have heard the expression, "You're perfect as you are," and you could also use some work. And in a way, this is not a contradiction, even though it may seem like it. If I'm grumpy Buddha, I don't deny it. I acknowledge with my mind who I am right now. I feel it in my body too. For me, that's the gateway to being present with the emotion without all of the thought loops. If I can feel it in my body, if I can just kind of feel the raw emotion, I'm not going down that thought road. I'm not indulging grumpiness. I'm not encouraging it. I'm allowing it to be by allowing it to be itself in sort of the deepest way. And when that happens, it may just lift. It may just kind of effervesce. And if it doesn't, if it remains, I can ask myself then, well, what can I do to be less grumpy? What can I do? Maybe I can sit some more. Maybe I can do some walking meditation. Maybe I can call my best friend. I can do some stuff to work on it. Embracing a negative emotion can feel a little risky because we're afraid that if we do that, we're going to encourage the emotion. But actually, the opposite is true. Accepting it fully is processing it so that we can move on. We think we don't want to go to that place of fear because that'll make us more fearful. But actually letting the fear be, acknowledging it slowly, carefully, with help if needed, we allow it to express itself, and then we can move on. It's the denial that causes all of the pain. So accepting reality allows reality to change. Trying to fight off reality makes it stick around. Perfection is accepting imperfection, and unattained Buddha is Buddha. And that's good for me anyway, because I'm so unattained sometimes, but that's good. I have so many opportunities to practice being unattained Buddha. So Wu Min, who compiled this collection, adds a comment where he says, "I approve the old barbarian's realization, but not his understanding." I approve the old barbarian's realization, but not his understanding. It's not really important for our purposes who the old barbarian is or why he's appearing here. The important thing is that Wu Min is making a distinction between realization, which is direct understanding of the truth, and understanding, which is cognitive understanding. So Ch'ing-jang, in giving a cryptic answer, chooses to try to shake the student into realization. He doesn't try to appeal to the student's understanding. And Aitken, in his commentary, stays pretty true to that level of realization. And he usually does that. But he plays with this a little bit too. After several pages of appealing to our realization, he ends by saying, "When we are truly realized, there is no progression. The saintly hermit, the Buddha of Supremely Pervading, Surpassing Wisdom, and indeed, you and I, we are just fine as we are. But the monk's question remains, why don't I get it?" So despite everything, our frustration is still there. And I'd like to address that. Aitken says, people sometimes ask me, how long will it take for me to be enlightened? He says that question comes from the dimension of understanding. Disengage yourself from any concern about how the process works, he says. Don't think about the process, just do the process. And I think it was Katagiri who said that your enlightenment is none of your business. But still, I get it, and I'd like to talk on the level of understanding. We want an experience. We want a milestone. I counsel patience. And I can think of two techniques to help you. One is redirection. Anytime that you become aware of the fact that you are having a thought about what you would like to attain, just redirect yourself to asking, but who or what is it now? But what is it now? And then you can thank the universe for the reminder. When we bow on formal occasions upon entering the zendo, that's a reminder to come to the present moment. When a great longing for spiritual attainment pops up in our mind, that is a reminder to come back to just this. Second is, remember, it's not just you experiencing this. And instead of saying, I am unattained Buddha, you can say, I, together with all beings, am unattained Buddha, or grumpy Buddha, or whatever. This will help to take you out of the realm of desire, because you're doing this for all beings. By letting myself be grumpy Buddha, instead of trying to get something better out of this moment for myself, I'm supporting all beings. I'm helping them with their acceptance. Can I actually help them while I'm sitting? Maybe. Can I help them when I get up from sitting and I am informed by my acceptance? Certainly. So, non-attained Buddha, helping all. You don't have to attain. One of our community elders a number of years ago said to me, it's not so important whether I attain enlightenment in this lifetime. I can do a lot to help other people. And she was saying, I don't have to attain Buddhahood for myself right now. Now there was a Buddha. So when we're like the student in this koan, asking basically, why am I not progressing as fast as I want to? We can redirect it to, what is it now? And we can remember that we are sharing the non-attainment of this moment with all beings. And we can remember that everything is impermanent. And we can keep showing up. And that's all. So, I would welcome comments or questions. Thank you very much for listening. And if you're online, I think we need you to just start speaking. Unmute yourself and start speaking. Here. Yes, Lawrence.
To me, I like a lot of these poems. I think they have the element paradox, contradiction. I think some of that's, to me, a lot of these are actually kind of humorous. And I see this one, I read, in your zazen on Bodhi Seat, why couldn't you attain Buddhahood? Because he is a non-attained Buddha. To me, it's almost like a joke. And some of these poems, I think, are kind of like humorous. Joke, like I can picture Rodney Dangerfield or something.
Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah, I don't know if you all could hear that, but Lawrence was saying there's an element of paradox here, and certainly a lot of humor, and a lot of these koans are like jokes. So you could imagine Rodney Dangerfield reading this koan, and yeah, sometimes in a sense you get them right away. Like, that's really funny. And I love jokes, because jokes they snap you from one place to another place. They set you up to have this expectation, and they take you to a totally different place. And that's what these do. It's really a joy to read these. If you ever get a chance to immerse yourself in koans, maybe you read a whole collection, or better yet, you take a course in koans. You get into a different place. Your mind starts working differently. When I teach a class on koans, I just love it, because I change during that time. And my jokes get better. Yeah. Raymond.
What arose for me in listening to this was faith.
Faith.
Yeah, the Buddha did that for infinity, that Buddha. And had faith in the process, and had faith, Buddha didn't seem to be worried about achieving Buddhahood.
Right.
And, you know, I like to think, that's what keeps me coming here, faith in the process, just faith in it.
Yeah,
It's happened.
it takes some faith, doesn't it?
It does for me.
To keep coming back. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you might get those immediate rewards, like, you know, because you love sitting so much and it changes you and you brighten up and your spouse says, I want you to keep going to Zen Center. I like this. You know? And that's great. But maybe after a while, you kind of hit this plateau. It's kind of hard. I'm not getting rewards all the time anymore. But then you keep coming back because you've got the faith. You've got faith. You've got faith and a kind of a giving attitude with that too. I don't need constant rewards for this. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Katie.
I want to thank you for your list of Buddhas. I found it very moving, actually,
Mm,
because it was repeating over and over, you're okay. You're
Mhm.
okay. No, really. You're okay, just as you. And by the end, I found myself very moved by that. So thank you.
Oh, good. Yeah. Yeah. No, really, really. You really are Buddha. Buddha hearing something surprising. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Ginny.
Okay, Sid. What's a Buddha, and is there anything that's not a Buddha, and what's an attained Buddha, and what's a non-attained Buddha? And is there a difference?
No, that's your question is exactly the point. Okay, thank you. Yes.
Feel when you're saying that grumpy Buddha and people around you know this, you're grumpy Buddha, and they don't like that. How do you respond to that in a to say, I'm just grumpy Buddha right now, or and how, I mean, if we're all unattained Buddhas, or there's no possibility that we're going to be like realized Buddhas. And that it's going to be the same question. But what the point is to just continue try. I mean, I have two questions. So the first one is what really stuck out to me, because that's the part that, like, even if I can accept it, like, I feel like other people around me are the ones that have more trouble accepting my state.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, just briefly on the second one, you know, I believe always in the possibility of being a fully realized Buddha. And in a sense, we are all fully realized Buddha. And I believe for everybody, there is the possibility of us being able to see that, being able to experience. We all experience it some, but to experience it more. But if your question, if I understand your question correctly, it's like, what if I am grumpy Buddha? Sort of, how does that affect the people around me? And that's interesting because we also have to think of, you know, ethics, and we have to do the right thing for everyone else. And I wouldn't say, and not that you implied this at all, but I would not say, well, I'm grumpy Buddha, that's how it is, I'm accepting it, so I'm just going to sort of be grumpy with everybody around me today. No, I wouldn't do that. I would try to, I don't want to be inauthentic, but still I want to be very kind, you know. So we don't ever want sort of, I am the Buddha that I am, to be sort of an excuse for behaving badly. And it's kind of that paradoxical thing that we accept how things are, but we try to make it better at the same time. So we try to be nice to everybody around us, and maybe we tell our best friend how grumpy we are, or our teacher.
Just having a hard time or something.
Yeah.
And just say, like, yeah, maybe I just need a little, give me a little grace, like.
Right.
I need a little extra love and practice that towards myself to give myself extra understanding. Of
Yeah.
understand where it's coming.
Which is a really nice balance because you're respecting the other person, being kind to them, not putting your grumpiness on them, while also caring for yourself and saying, this is what I need in this situation.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. In practice, it's kind of, it stays in the theoretical realm.
Yeah, sometimes.
I need a more practice. But, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yes.
I have a question. What about if it's like, I'm like a placing everyone Buddha? Like, for me, everyone to be, I want them to be happy, you know? And then I'm not kind of authentic with what my feelings are because of trying to be that light for everyone.
Yeah,
And then sometimes I feel like I neglected myself, Buddha.
yeah,
I realize that I don't know how to.
yeah, yeah. Pleasing everyone, Buddha, neglecting myself. Buddha. I think I know that Buddha a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, I've talked about this in talks before, and it's such an important thing because we need to extend our compassion to ourselves. It's an essential part of our practice. I mean, I've always believed that you can't really wake up until the compassion of the universe is so pervasive that it fills everything about yourself as well, and you're not excluding yourself. Because you have to have that compassion to really let go of all of your fears and everything and accept the moment as it is. So it's important to recognize when we sort of are neglecting ourselves in order to please others, recognize the great beauty in that, the compassion, where that comes from. But also to recognize that, oh, maybe that's a little out of kilter because we need that balance. You know, we need that balance. We need to take care of ourselves. And there are techniques, I think, for extending the same compassion to ourselves that we extend to other people. And it takes a little bit of strength too, because you kind of have to say to people, well, I can't help you now because I got to take care of myself, because if I help you, I will be weakened and I won't be able to help other people. You know, so it takes a little bit of strength in that regard. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. John, and then Arfasa, and then David.
I think time is important in this conversation, because when we're caught up in thinking about attaining something in the future, well, there is no future. There's only the moment, so you can only be the Buddha that you are in that moment.
Yes. Very good. Thank you. Marfasa? Marcella.
Almost. No. Yeah, I think sometimes in your situation that you described, if you just say, I'm not having a good day, you know, they realize, okay, you're taking responsibility that it's you. So you're respecting them, but you're giving them an opportunity to be compassionate with you. And it's also a self-care for you. I think something as simple as that can be effective. And then sometimes others will learn from that, and they felt better from what you said, and then they'll use it going forward. So
I think it is, and then it kind of, I like that idea. It's just kind of trying to start that when it hasn't been in practice so much in the past to, and it's kind of a learning curve. It's hard for people to like say, oh, you're not there to help me right now, or you're not, you know, so yeah, I
but I agree, it can take a little time and maybe a little faith.
yeah.
Okay, thank you. Davey, and then I think I'll ask if anyone online is available.
I was just trying to observe that. I think if I say I'm pleasing others, Buddha, that it releases the energy of attachment that goes. And then that energy is available to move on.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Anyone online like to speak?
Hi, Ted. It's Cody.
Hi.
Yeah, one thing I took from the koan and the talk is that, when we, like the student, when we feel frustration, we can't just often just be with the frustration. Like the frustration becomes like a problem, and then we have to kind of figure things out, right? And as a little bit of a mild confession, but when I was sitting earlier this morning, I had this thing coming up in my mind about a friend and how this friend like never listens to me and they just only talk about themselves and just kind of frustrated, grumpy Buddha, you might say. But I didn't have the Buddha part yet. I was just kind of in my rumination. And then I noticed that yes, like trying to just kind of like be with what is and feeling a really subtle but profound lightening that comes up with just just kind of bringing awareness to just this, you might say. And then you sort of realize like, oh, actually there's nothing to figure out here. There's just stuff happening. But it's just interesting how we notice with the student and then just us as humans that when we do feel frustrated, it really does feel like, oh, there's a thing that we have to do or that we have to solve. And maybe on some level, it's just kind of extra.
All right, thank you for that comment. Yes.
It seems to me that there's a subtle danger zone that separates acceptance and certainty. So we say things like, I'm grumpy Buddha and I want to accept that. But there's this subtle thing where you're kind of like asserting that you know what kind of Buddha you are. And you kind of, it's also comes up when we talk about other people, especially. It's like, well, I'm grumpy Buddha, and so they must be frustrated Buddha, but you actually have no idea how other people are experiencing the kind of Buddha that you are, and you also, to some extent, have a lot of uncertainty about the kind of Buddha that you are.
Right.
At the moment, so it seems like there's some delicate balance between accepting the kind of Buddha you are, but also acknowledging that you still are maybe finding out what kind of Buddha you are, and you definitely don't know. There's definitely a lot you don't know about the kinds of Buddhas that other people are experiencing. A lot of certainty is seems to come from the usual thing of wanting to control the world. Feel a sense of control if I say like, well, I'm this kind of Buddha right now. And so there's like it seems like there's a subtle difference between acceptance and also like asserting. That seems kind of important. I don't know if you have any thoughts about how to.
Yeah, I think that's very, very helpful. And I think one, kind of background to what you're saying, anytime we fall into fixed views about what kind of Buddha we are or what kind of Buddha someone else is, that could really be limited. And the Buddha I am, it's constantly fluctuating. I could be 12 Buddhas in 12 seconds. Yeah, right. So yeah, no fixed views. Thank you. So, okay, well, one more comment. Thank you. Yes.
I can please other people that I'm safe in the world, and that there's a lot of vulnerability in stepping back and saying, I'm not going to make sure that you're okay, but I'm going to make sure that I'm okay. And whatever that elicits in the other person is not like of me. And if that's their actual spiritual experience, is when I don't try to control the outcome for another human being. And I just step back, drop the rope, and live in my own. And most of the time it's me living in like an insane amount of discomfort. But in that discomfort is where I have found the most comfort.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, so I think probably you're getting to know deeply kind of where this is coming from, and that can really help you. Yeah. And our practice, I think, can really help us to deeply know these things. There are other ways to deeply know them as well. So, all right, well, thank you so much, everyone. I'd like to turn this over to our Doan, Davy, at this time.